What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the greatest afternoon show in the world, and that is AC Reviews the World. I am your host, AC the Engineer, and we are at episode 139. Yes, 139. Yes, moving on up there, Hopefully, everybody had a beautiful day today. It is Thursday, February 26th, 2026, year of our Lord. And hey, it's the time for one of the greatest shows in the world. We got AC Reviews the World. But we got to do a little housekeeping first. Remember, if you ever disagree with anything I say, please leave a comment. Please talk about it. Let's have a discussion. I'm never going to say I'm always right. I'm never going to say I always understand everything. So please reach out and let's have a discussion about it. Now, remember, the best way to show your support is just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you can be up to date on all the videos. Now, this is a show where we got 4 topics we go over Monday through Friday, starting at 6 o'clock. Just topics that popped up on my recommendeds, or my algorithm be algorithming. But 4 topics where we go over we just need to discuss together. And like always, we got a lot of crazy things to talk about, and a lot of things that we just need to talk. But you know how I like to do it. Let's jump right into it. How Future say, let's have a sensational show today, everybody. First topic we're going to be discussing today. We got to go. So this recently happened, most recently. So we got to go over into Columbia University, where we got a student who was detained by ICE. Where is it at? Yes, we got a student who was detained by ICE. I believe she's already been released now, but looks like her visa expired and she didn't leave, or I don't know what the whole situation is, but we'll get into it. We got Mendani talking about it. Say he called the president to discuss it, but we got a few videos to look at, and then we'll go into the AI breakdown. But let's get over into it and see what we can find out about this whole situation.
We are tracking breaking news this hour. Protests are underway at Columbia University after a student was reportedly detained by ICE agents inside a campus residential building. This was the view over the campus about an hour ago. You can see large groups of people gathering and marching. It remains unclear if these are Columbia students or people associated with the university. Of course, all of this is happening after Columbia's acting president sent an email to students about this incident. In it, she says in part that federal agents made misrepresentations about searching for a missing person to gain entry into the residential hall building early this morning. Tracking this story, NBC News correspondent Valerie Castro. So, Valerie, to start, what have we learned about what happened, and do we have any insight into who this student is?
Yes, Zinkley. So a lot of the details are still coming together. We do have that letter from Columbia's acting president saying that this happened early this morning, around 6:30 this morning, that federal agents allegedly made their way into the building, and Columbia University says that they were misrepresenting themselves, saying that they were there to search for a, quote, missing person. The university is still working to gather more information, but Department of Homeland Security has issued a statement. They say that ICE agents arrested Elmina Agayeva. She's a student from Azerbaijan. DHS says that her student visa from 2016 was terminated after failing to attend classes. DHS says that the arresting officers were let into the building by the building manager and her roommate. What's unclear in all of this is that if there was any sort of warrant that was issued or any warrant that was presented in order to gain entry into the building, in order to arrest the student. Governor Kathy Hochul, New York Governor Kathy Hochul, she was at another event earlier today. She was asked about this incident. Take a listen to what she had to say.
With respect to Columbia, the details are still unfolding, but if they went into college housing, student housing, that requires a warrant. And I want to know if they had a warrant, what the conditions of that arrest were, and we're still looking for more information. But to misrepresent who they are.
So again, we're still waiting to find out more about.
Now, that is a crazy thing to think about, if they really did just not say it was ICE, or are they required to say that they are immigration enforcement agents? That is a question. Let's keep going.
What happened. DHS in that statement, they also said that the student has no pending appeals or applications with DHS, so it's unclear what her status was in the country. We have reached out to her attorney, still waiting to get back any comment for that.
Certainly a developing situation, but hopefully more information comes. Valerie Castro, thank you.
We thank you.
Now let's go over into the next video where they talk about that she has been released.
All right, let's take you to New York now, where we're following some breaking news. Mayor Zohran Mamdani says a student taken into federal custody earlier this morning will be released, and she is now posting about that release to social media. She was taken into custody by federal agents around 6:30 this morning. University officials said that the agents lied, saying that they were with the NYPD to get into the building and reach her early this morning. Now, Zohran Mamdani tweeted, quote, "Just got off the phone with President Trump. In our meeting earlier, I shared my concerns about Columbia student Elena Agayeva, who was detained by ICE this morning. He had just informed me that she will be released imminently." Now, it's been a tense day, though, at Columbia's campuses, with protests after university officials said that the agents lied to get into the building to reach the student early this morning. Jared Ochacher joins us live from New York. Jared, you went to Columbia's campus today to talk with students who were out there protesting. What did they tell you?
So I joined those protesters as they were outside of Columbia for about 2 hours, from noon till around 2 p.m. They were chanting against the school administration. They were chanting against the federal administration and against DHS in particular. They were angry, and they told me they didn't feel safe in school, and that's not how they felt that they should be on campus. You guys have a soundbite from one of the classmates that I spoke with of the student who was detained, and I'd like to take a listen to that now.
Everyone is very nervous. Everyone is very scared. Students are literally hiding in their dorms right now because they're afraid to come outside.
Yeah, and
now I can never knock how someone's feeling because it's how they feel. But my question is, why are they afraid? Like, if I was at the school, I don't know if I would be afraid. Just me thinking, like, now if someone has a questionable immigration status, I can understand why they're afraid. But I mean, let's keep going.
Within the hour, we've heard from a new release from Columbia University saying that there are new actions and new guidelines that they're giving out to the community for both staff and students on how to better navigate something like this if it were to happen again. That includes a webinar that's happening today on immigration policy and laws, and also more public safety patrols that are being deployed to residential buildings around campus.
Jared Ochacher, thank you so much for that report.
Now let's go over into the AI breakdown just to get a little bit more information about this whole situation. Let's jump over into it. So let's jump into it. So on February 26th, federal agents from the ICE detained Columbia University senior Emily Agivera at her campus residence. The incident sparked immediate campus protests and was condemned by the university officials and local politicians. Agents reportedly gained entry into the university-owned apartments on West 121st Street at approximately 6:30 a.m. by misrepresenting themselves. Acting President Claire stated agents claimed to be searching for a missing person to bypass security. The student is a senior in the School of General Studies studying neuroscience and political science, originally from Azerbaijan. I'm not even gonna try to say it. She's originally she is a well-known social media content creator with over 100,000 followers. So DHS officially stated her student visa was terminated in 2016 for failing to attend classes under the Obama administration. Following an unrelated meeting between New York Mayor Mamdani and President Trump, the president agreed to release her immediately. She confirmed her release on Instagram that evening, stating that she is safe and okay. The arrest is a part of an ongoing crackdown on international student activists at the university. The incident follows a high-profile 2025 arrest of Mohammed, a pro-Palestinian activist held for 104 days. And then Mohsen, whose deportation was recently blocked by immigration judge in February 2026. Columbia has tightened patrols requiring all law enforcement officers to present judicial warrants to access non-public areas. Governor Cathy and other officials have called for legislation to ban ICE from sensitive locations like dorms and schools following reports of agents using fake badges or missing person flyers. That's a crazy situation. Now, I'm assuming it's against the law for agents not to identify themselves properly, because that's what the main way that they can. Because if you act on someone who doesn't identify themselves, you can't be held liable for it. So I wonder if they truly did. You know how some people say they did and didn't. I want to know exactly what happened. Hear about the officers and hear what they have to say. But it is a crazy situation. And if they truly did misrepresent themselves just to get inside the dorm room, that's a crazy situation. Absolutely crazy. Let me know your thoughts on this situation, y'all. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Should they be allowed to go into the dorms? That's the question. Should they be allowed to go inside the dorms and get someone who their student visa has expired? It's a crazy situation. We're living in crazy times where these are the questions we have to ask. But let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. We're going to pivot now over into the next topic we're going to be discussing. We got to go to another college. This happened a few days ago. We're going to go over into Hunter's College, where a Hunter College professor made some racist remarks on a Zoom meeting call. Shocked everybody. We got parents upset, calling for action to be taken. So we'll get over into that and see what we can make of this whole situation. Let's jump over into it.
Backlash and fallout after racist comments at a meeting on the Upper West Side. The parent making the comments, also a professor at Hunter College.
These comments were heard on a Zoom while a student was speaking at an educational council meeting. The mayor and school counselor now weighing in, as some are calling for the parent to be fired from her job in education.
Eyewitness News anchor Joe Torres is live on the Upper West Side. And Joe, the school's chancellor also weighing into this?
Well, that's for sure, Sade and Mike. The Community Action School, MS 258 here on the Upper West Side, one of 3 schools in this neighborhood targeted for relocation or closure. The student population here, largely Black and Latino, and we point that out because it was during a district council Zoom call more than 2 weeks ago on February 10th, where one parent on the call made some rather racially insensitive comments, and the firestorm is still brewing. The controversial comments were caught on a District 3 Community Education Council Zoom call earlier this month.
They're too dumb to know they're in a bad school. I mean, apparently Martin Luther King said it. Like, if you train a Black person well enough, they'll know to use the back. You don't have to tell them anymore. They're just...
Now that's y'all heard it, right? We'll watch another video where we can clearly hear it. But basically, she said if you train a Black person basically good enough, they'll learn to use the back. That was
Allison Friedman. What you're saying is absolutely hearable here. You've got to stop.
It's just really defeating to hear that, someone thinks that they go to a school that they don't know is bad and they're too dumb to realize that they're bad. That's actually really bad to hear.
Allison Friedman is a district parent who also works as an associate professor in the Department of Biological Sciences at Hunter College. Following the remarks, the school issued a statement which read, in part, Hunter College is reviewing the situation under the university's applicable conduct and non-discrimination policies. We expect our community members' actions and words to comport with our institutional identity, values, and policies. Friedman put out a statement of her own and claimed her comments were taken out of context after accidentally unmuting her connection. My complete comments make clear these abhorrent views are not my own, nor were they directed at any student or group. However, I recognize these comments caused harm and pain. While that was not my intent, I do truly apologize. The mayor and the school's chancellor...
Now that makes sense that she would say that. Now, we don't know if that's truly her views. She was caught red-handed saying it. But of course, this is something that is what she would put out there just to try to save face. But I think she has tenure, so can they truly fire her? I'm not really sure on the whole tenure, policy, but let's keep going.
Called the comments reprehensible.
I think it is indicative of the exact kind of language that makes students feel as if they don't belong within our public school system.
Teachers at MS 258, already dealing with the possibility of closure, said the comments are an unwelcome distraction, but also represent a teaching opportunity.
We're living through a moment like this that allows us to reinforce the ideas that we've been communicating, or certainly I've been communicating as a teacher throughout my career.
Now, the District 3 Community Education Council has its next meeting scheduled for tomorrow night, 5:30, right here. And they specifically designed that meeting to address what happened at the last meeting and to reinforce the council's mission, advocacy, without any demeaning or demoralizing language. Live on the Upper West Side.
Now let's go over into the next video where we get the full video of the Zoom call. So let's get over into that.
Another important policy for me is our speech program. I've been receiving speech services since first grade. I attend Mr. Goldman and 2 other students on Fridays. He delivers lessons and helps us fit those skills into our lessons.
Schools that like they're
they're
too dumb to know they're in a bad school.
Independent in our class.
I mean, apparently Martin Luther King said it. Like, if you train a Black person well enough, they'll know to use the back. You don't have to tell them anymore. They just
Allison Friedman, what you're saying is absolutely hearable here. You've got to stop.
The moment of the silence that's being, you can hear a pin drop. So many people just don't even know what to say.
I'm sorry, sweetie. Go ahead, baby. I'm sorry.
Me and many other students in our classes and with that students might not be able to have these safe spaces and supports. We should be able to keep our school open. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And this is why a child is talking too. This is crazy.
The next speaker is Miles Mason. Remind people at home to mute yourselves. Remember, as Stephen Sondheim said, the children will listen. As Roger and Hammerstein said, you have to be carefully taught. Musical theory.
Good evening, CEC. My name is Miles Mason. I'm a 6th grade student here at CAS Community Access School, MS 258.
That's a wild thing to hear on a Zoom call anywhere. Now let's go over into the next video.
Another important policy for me is our speech program.
As New York City children bravely testified about their public school experience during a February 10th Zoom meeting, a mother was caught in a hot mic moment.
Like, if you train a Black person well enough, they'll know to use the back. You don't have to tell them anymore.
The meeting centered around a consolidation of schools here on the Upper West Side, including PS 191, which, under the proposal, would eliminate the middle school program.
They're too dumb to know they're in a bad school.
People on the call could barely contain their visible shock over the comments made by Allison Friedman, on Tuesday rebuked by the mayor and his school's chancellor as reprehensible.
It is indicative of the exact kind of language that makes students feel as if they don't belong.
We will be really leaning in and working with the school communities to make sure that we repair any harm that was done to our students.
The parent who made the comments is also a professor at Hunter College. A spokesperson called the remarks abhorrent and said the university is investigating. Many city officials calling for her firing.
She has to go, because if it was one of us, we would have been gone too, period.
Parent advocates in the district said the words are rooted in racism and perpetuated over decades.
You are invoking a history in this country where Black people were treated as less than human.
In an email to the New York Times, Dr. Friedman apologized and explained she was, quote, trying to explain the concept of systemic racism to her son by referencing an example of an obviously racist trope. These abhorrent views are not my own, she said.
To make these type of opinionated statements during Black History Month is unacceptable, disgraceful, and disheartening.
Now, this is a crazy situation. Let's go over into the AI breakdown just to see if we missed anything. But the question is, do you truly believe that she was just trying to teach her son? Or is that how she truly felt? And she was teaching him, I don't know what she was saying. If she was teaching him that's how Black people were treated, that's what she's trying to claim? Or is this just her views that she didn't think nobody would hear? There's a lot of undercover people now. Let's go over into the AI breakdown. So as we know, Allison Friedman, an associate biology professor at Hunter College, was placed on leave in February 2026 following an abhorrent racist remark caught on hot mic during a virtual school board meeting. During February 10th meeting, Friedman adherently left her mic on while speaking to someone off camera. She was caught saying they're too dumb to know they're bad in school, and if you train a Black person well enough, they'll know to use the back. You don't have to tell them anymore. Just that you don't have to tell them. That just sounds like it's. This is a great. Yeah, she sounds like she's going to get fired. Her comments followed a student's testimony regarding school closures and seemingly referenced an earlier mention of scholar Carter G. Woodson, though she incorrectly attributed her paraphrase trope to Martin Luther King Jr. So she claimed that she was explaining systematic racism to her child by referencing a racist trope, that her full comments were not audible. Hunter College president announced an investigation under the University Conduct and Non-Discriminate Policies, placing Friedman on leave pending the outcome. City officials and community leaders have condemned the remarks, with many calling for her immediate termination. It's a great. So will she get fired? That is the question. Will she get fired? There are sometimes these people say things sometimes people say things that you would never expect. Be the people you would never expect to say something this wild, and then of course they'll try to explain it away and give a reason why they said it. But the question is, will they believe the reason she gave? Or does she make her reasoning good enough to where she doesn't lose her job? A lot of people are upset about this. And it will most likely be protest if she does not get fired. The world of protest, But let me know your thoughts on that situation, y'all. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Like always, the world is a crazy place, and we have to review the world together, y'all. We have to review the world together. Absolutely crazy. We're going to pivot over into our third topic we're going to be discussing today. And now we're getting into some of the heartbreaking stuff, y'all. We're getting into some of the heartbreaking stuff and some of the stuff that makes you use faith in America sometimes. But let's get over into it. We got a serial child predator who gets parole. Yes, I said that correctly. A serial child predator who gets parole. We got a few videos to look at, and of course, we'll go over to the AI breakdown just to see if we missed anything. But I don't know in what world I would think to give a serial child predator parole. I don't care if he says he's reformed. I don't care if it was 50 years ago. Nah, you got to stay in the prison till you die. That's just my feeling. But let's get over into it and see what we can make of this whole situation. But let's jump into it.
Convicted child kidnapper and molester has been granted parole in California
under the state's controversial elderly parole program. This after a judge described him as a monster parents fear the most. David Funston was sentenced to 3 life sentences after he was convicted of attacking 8 children in Sacramento County in the 90s.
No, that's as simple as that. If he came up on my parole list, nah, he just don't tell him to go back.
The sheriff.
There are some folks that deserve a second chance in life. Someone that does these type of things, they don't deserve a second chance in life. What are we coming to as a society here in California? That it's okay with this, to let him out. What in the hell is going on in California? 100%, what is happening in our state? This cannot happen, it's not okay.
California Congressman Kevin Kiley represents part of Sacramento County. He joins us now. Congressman, thanks so much for joining the program. The governor of the state, Gavin Newsom, released this statement to us. He said the Board of Parole hearings is an independent agency made this decision. The governor asked the BPH to re-review its decision. The governor doesn't agree with the outcome. He wants to call it an independent agency, but he appointed these people.
Well, not only
you're mad about the decision, but you're the one who appointed him?
that, I mean, this idea, oh, I had nothing to do with this. Number one, he signed the law that made this individual eligible for release. And number two, this is his parole board that recommended his release. I mean, this is an individual who was described at his sentencing hearing by the judge as the monster that parents fear most. The judge said there is no man on earth that is deserving of this sentence as you. He got 3 life sentences. He had 16 counts of kidnapping and child molestation. He had at least 8 victims, ages 4 to 7, that he would lure to his car using candy and toys. He would kidnap them, abuse them, molest them, leave them on the side of the road. So this is absolutely horrifying.
Here's one.
And this is the man they let get parole? This is the stereotype or the thing we teach our kids about, telling them if a man comes up to you in a van with some candy, don't go. 4 to 7? Nah, man, this is... What are these people thinking? That is the main... What are these people thinking? 3 life sentences? Absolutely.
The victims.
I have nephews and nieces, and, you know, that I'm concerned about. If this man comes back to Sacramento, this is where my family's at. This is where I'm from, you know. Wow. So if he gets out, you know, who knows if he'll do it again. You know, I was told that he fantasizes still about, you know, children and stuff. Like, why would you let this man out if this is what this man is saying? You know, when he gets out, how do you not know if he will continue? He's a serial sex offender.
I mean, the guy rapes children and then he smiles in his mugshot. I mean, is this someone that we want back on the street?
Well, of course not. And it is a reckless law that we have in California, this so-called elderly parole law. I was actually in the legislature when this passed. I voted against it. It was bipartisan opposition to it. It allows for even the most vile offenders, if they're over the age of 50, to be released from prison early. And there was bipartisan opposition to that.
50? That's near. Now, if you would have said like 90, all right, 90 years old, okay, I can understand it. I can think about that situation, but 50, they still got strength at 50. They can still move around at 50. Some people who make our laws are stupid and maybe even ignorant human beings. Let's keep going.
By the way. So I'm calling for the reversal of this reckless law, as well as others in California that have let tens of thousands of serious criminals out of prison early under Gavin Newsom's watch. And we're also calling for this individual in particular to be committed under a civil procedure known as the sexually violent predator process.
We'll be following it. I just hope the voters understand when they talk about Newsom's good hair and good oratory skills, this is the guy that signed this into law. Congressman.
Absolutely crazy. Let's go over to the next video just to get another more information.
A judge in Sacramento described him, and I'll say this, as the monster parents fear most. Yet today, the parole board decided he is suitable for release. We can't have this.
So Sacramento Sheriff Jim Cooper talking after David Allen Funston was granted elderly parole, which is under a California law. We'll explain that in a moment. He was convicted of 16 counts of kidnapping and child molestation, the case setting off alarms across California. There are now louder calls to overhaul the state's parole program. Sheriff Jim Cooper is with me now. And sir, good morning to you. So David Allen Funston, age 64, kidnapping and child molestation, 16 counts, sentenced to 3 consecutive terms of 25 years to life, and then an additional 20 years after that. But you've got this law passed in 2018 that anyone who has served 25 years in prison, is age 60 or older, is eligible for parole. Then you came back, your state did rather, in 2021, 3 years later, and took it from age 60 to age 50. And now this is what you're left with, Sheriff.
I'm losing faith in the judicial system in some of these places. So first, it doesn't matter about the crime, and then you let them out at 60. But then 3 years later, you would come back and be like, nah, that's 60 is a little much. Let's bring it down to 50. Making them more spry.
Make sense of it.
It doesn't make any sense at all. Think about this. Retirement age for Social Security is 62. Most people work in their 60s and 70s. And why is he being released? And it's what is the moral compass for the parole board in allowing this? I've read the same report they did. The things he did to these kids, ages 3 to 8, are horrific. It can never be undone.
Well, he said this to the LA Times, Sheriff. This is what he told commissioners, excuse me. He acknowledged that he ruined the lives of his young victims and that pedophilia is a lifelong condition that he would be dealing with. I worked so hard on managing my behavior and practicing my urge control plan, end quote. What
plan? This man was in a jail with a bunch of men. What you mean he was practicing his control? Ain't no little kids running around. And he even admitted that pedophilia is a lifelong thing that he's dealing with. Now leave him in jail.
What did it take for him to convince that board that he should walk and live among the community again?
It's called playing the game. You're in prison. You have nothing else to do other than convince him to change. I want to read you some excerpts from the report. This is a victim's testimony. Her statement, she's 3 years old. She was abducted in front of her aunt's house. Took her to his house where he bathed her and took her clothes off. He then assaulted her, put a knife through her throat, and told her if she told anyone, he would kill her. He had Barbie dolls and toys in the house, dropped her off back at the house and told her again, if you tell anyone, I'll kill you. Another 7-year-old girl, he took her 50 miles away, sexually assaulted her in the car. When she refused to advance this, he punched her in the face, threw her out of the car with no shoes on. 50 miles away, a 7-year-old girl. Then a 4-year-old boy, same thing, took him in the bushes, sexually assaulted him, gave him toys, and then let him go. That 4-year-old boy picked him out of a photo lineup 30 years ago. This man's a monster. He should not be allowed out.
I read that he would lure children inside of his home with candy. Can you?
Monster. There are demons who walk among us, and they're letting this man out.
Do anything here?
Yes. There's something going on right now. There's a couple of bills in the legislature, and I think because of the public outcry and outrage that's going on, I think you may see some movement in the legislature. It's an election year, and I'm down in Southern California with 57 other sheriffs, and we're all upset about it. We're all angry. It has to change. We have to put victims first and stop putting these suspects in front.
Yeah,
that's the most important
I'm thinking, ankle monitor, something. Give your community a chance. Why do you think California went this route? Was it trying to empty jails?
That's what it comes down to. Some folks want no accountability. They don't want anybody held in jail. And right now, the only folks in jail are the serious violent offenders, including child molesters. And what really rubs me wrong, even prisoners, inmates, have a code of conduct. They hate child molesters. They will try and kill them themselves. So why is this parole board that's unelected, that doesn't report to anybody, making these decisions? And then also, how many more folks like Mr. Funston have been released already? We have no idea.
Wow, great question.
Absolutely great question. How many more people who can't help themselves and are child predators did they release off of this law, letting them go at 50 just because they old? no matter the crime, just because they old. One more video, y'all, and then we'll go into the AI breakdown.
This man is being called a monster. He was convicted of 16 counts of abducting and molesting children. Now he's being released on parole, and his victims, including this woman, are furious. She spoke with Stephen Fabian.
There is growing outrage over a serial child predator who is about to be released.
We're talking children as young as 3.
And the parole board thinks now he deserves to be walking the streets.
I'm disgusted and I'm shocked.
David Allen Funston was convicted of 16 counts of kidnapping and child molestation in Sacramento in 1999. Now gray-haired, he's the man a judge called the monster parents fear the most. Funston was sentenced to 3 consecutive terms of 25 to life. But now, after 27 years behind bars, he's been granted what's known in California as elderly parole. He's now 64 years old. The parole board cited Funston's therapy work and sex offender treatment classes he completed behind bars. They said they did not believe Funston posed a significant danger. I spoke to one of Funston's victims who was 4 years old when he lured her into his car with a Barbie doll. She says she can't have children as a result of what he did to her.
How does it feel knowing this man who did this to you could soon be released from prison?
That's not right. That's not okay. That's injustice. Where's the justice at?
What goes through your mind when you see his mugshot and you see him almost smiling in that mugshot?
That makes me disgusted. It's like a slap in the face.
Prosecutor Anne-Marie Schubert helped put Funston behind bars.
Do you worry that if he gets out, he could do something like this again?
Oh, no doubt about it. That's one of the biggest fears. I think I'm afraid for the community because of the danger that he presents.
Now, okay, here's a question. If he goes out, if they let him out and he commits a crime, is the parole board who let him out going to take that charge for him? They're going to take it with him? This is crazy. And they said they don't believe him just because he did some sex offender treatments. He ain't going to commit crimes. This man is this man's a monster. They said ages 3 to 7. 3 to 7. And look at him smiling. He know he's happy. This man is, oh my God. Let's go over to the AI breakdown, y'all. Jeez. So as we know, in February, a serial predator, David Allen, was granted parole in California, spreading widespread national outrage. Now 64 and was convicted in 1999 of 16 counts of kidnapping and child molestation. During a crime spree in mid-1990s, he targeted children as young as 3 to 7, often using candy and toys to lure them into his vehicle. He was originally sentenced to more than 20 plus 3 consecutive life sentences. The parole reason he was released, which was approved by California's elderly parole program, which allowed inmates who are at least 50 years old and have served 20 consecutive years to be eligible for suitable hearings. Governor Gavin Newsom expressed his disagreement with this. The sheriff and former prosecutors of the MU described him as a monster. So to prevent his release into the public, authorities and victims advocates are calling for Funston to be designated as a sexual violent predator. If successful, he would be transferred to a state hospital for indefinite civil confinement instead of being freed. I mean, I guess that's the best they can do. The controversial has renewed support for SB 1278, a proposed bill that would exclude violent sex offenders from state elderly parole. Why? That should be obvious. At least to me, that should be obvious. Craziness, y'all. This is the world we live in. Absolute craziness. Now, let me know your thoughts. And let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Now, my friend, you said he should be released. I think you're trolling. I hope you're trolling. Or are you saying he should be released? I don't even know why you're saying he should be released. Everyone who even thought about releasing him should be put in jail. It's a crazy world. Craziness. There's nothing I can say. There's some people out here who deserve to rot in jail for the rest of their lives. Yes, people can change, but I don't matter if you change. The crime is already done. You committed something that just has landed you in jail for the rest of your life. And you got to accept that. Craziness. Absolute crazy situation, y'all. Absolutely crazy. But like I said, let me know your thoughts on that situation. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. We're going to pivot over into the last topic, and it's more craziness and just more stuff that just makes you lose faith in humanity sometimes. We got a Marion County monster. Yes, a monster who ends up beating a 3-year-old to death. And they say he might have been doing this to other children. So we'll go over into that. We got a few videos to look at, and then we'll go over into the AI breakdown just to see anything else we can find out about this whole situation. It's hard to look at this stuff sometimes. My friend, if you thinking he should be released just because he's old, but even though he's a serial child predator, I don't really think he should go to jail. No, but I don't understand your thinking. I don't understand why you would say that. Are you just trying to troll? This is a crazy situation. Absolutely crazy. Let's go over into this next video. Absolutely crazy.
First tonight, family members of a 3-year-old girl killed in Marion County say she and her siblings slipped through the cracks and were let down.
Jerome Combs is facing charges accused of killing Paisley Brown. West 2's Haley Crumble-Holmes spoke with the little girl's great aunt. And Haley, she told you that Combs was in her life for just a few short months.
That's right. And she is describing the home that this little girl lived in as a house of horrors. Now, the woman I spoke with, her niece, is Paisley's mom, and law enforcement has said that Paisley's mom is being investigated. When I asked the aunt about that, she said without pointing fingers, she wants to see justice for Paisley, no matter who was involved.
They slipped through the cracks. They slipped through the cracks.
That's what Tabitha Harless said Friday about the children who were living in this trailer in Citra when 3-year-old Paisley Brown was killed.
These children were let down, not only by their parents, but by society. And it shouldn't be that way. That's why I am standing up today for Paisley and them children.
Harless said Paisley was her great niece, and the little girl had even lived with her for a few months.
She was a fun-loving, energetic little girl with a big smile.
She said recently she had allowed Paisley's mom, her niece, to move with her kids into the trailer she owned in Citra. Harless said she was heading there Thursday when she got a call from her niece.
And says, "Don't come." And I'm like, "What do you mean, don't come?" And she said, because Paisley's not breathing.
She said she got to the trailer moments later.
I seen Mr. Combs standing there with his arms folded up, doing absolutely nothing. Nobody seemed to be in a really panic. And I performed CPR, but in the meantime, I was looking at her. Why is she wet? Where did these bruises come from?
Coombs is Jerome Jarrell Coombs. Harless said that was Paisley's mother's boyfriend. Deputies said Coombs admitted to having injured little Paisley, and reports say witnesses saw at least some of it happen. Harless said one of the oldest kids in the home was one of them.
He said, "Aunt Tabby, he killed her. He punched her in the chest and he punched her in the wall."
Harless said Coombs had only been in the picture a few months, and she only really knew what her niece would tell her about him.
He was so sweet to the kids. He loved them so much, but the kids tell a whole different story.
According to reports from the sheriff's office, Coombs said to punish Paisley for reaching into her diaper, he would bind her hands and legs together with blue painter tape. And one of the other children told deputies Coombs sometimes used handcuffs on him.
When I say Citra House of Horror, that isn't a lie.
Now, I reached out to the Department of Children and Families to see if there had been investigations involving this family in the past. They said anything related to this case is confidential.
Craziness. Absolute crazy. Let's go over into this next video where he talked about he tried to get bond.
A man accused of beating a little girl to death in Marion County tried to get out of jail on bond. His bond was denied.
West 2's David Jones is combing through the testimony of a detective who was on the scene, and we do want to warn you, this may be difficult to listen to.
32-year-old Jerome Combs walked into a Marion County courtroom wearing a yellow jail jumpsuit, facing an aggravated child abuse charge that's likely to be upgraded in the death of a 3-year-old girl in his care, Paisley Brown.
The state should hold the defendant pending the trial in this case.
Assistant State Attorney Janine Nixon, arguing for Combs to remain in jail, brought up a detective from the Marion County Sheriff's Office. She spoke to an interview she did with Combs where she said he confessed.
He would tie her wrist with a rope. Eventually, she learned how to remove the rope tie with her legs, so then he used blue painter's tape and he tied her legs from her thighs down to her ankles, explaining what appeared to be the ligature marks on her legs.
The detective said on the day of Brown's death last week, Combs told her she was calling for him. He admitted to picking her up and dropping her because she squirmed.
He stated that he proceeded to strike the decedent about 3 times on her chest, digging his knuckles into her chest. He said after the 3rd time, the decedent was unresponsive.
The detective said she briefly interviewed Brown's 9-year-old brother, who she said was handcuffed in another room at the time.
He told me that he, referring to the defendant, had punched his sister on the chest many times, and that he could hear her crying.
Combs was the boyfriend of Brown's mother, the sheriff's office says, for anywhere from 4 to 6 months. They say he was the primary caretaker while the mom was at work. Judge Peter Brigham agreed with the state to keep him locked up.
I don't know what else going on with the mom in this whole thing, but what I've heard so far is there's a little 3-year-old girl. She's bound, legs and hands, and essentially gets beaten to death.
Covering Marion County, David Jones, West 2 News.
There are some, I've said this plenty of times, there's some monsters in this world. Y'all, let's go over into this next one.
Deputies believe several children were actively being abused when a 3-year-old little girl died in a Marion County home last week. The details coming out in court today, including the use of cages and handcuffs. Channel 9's Zach Pampantonis listened in as attorneys and the judge wondered how involved the girl's mother was.
Investigators say the little girl's mother dated Jerome Combs for 4 to 6 months. She's not facing any charges right now, which is why we're not using her name. But one boy told investigators she let him out of his handcuffs shortly before deputies arrived.
After Ms. arrived, he needed to use the restroom, and then Ms. removed the handcuffs, and then he was allowed to use the restroom.
As Jerome Combs listened, deputies described their interview with an older child who said he was handcuffed inside the Citra trailer the morning they say Combs beat 3-year-old Paisley Brown to death.
I asked him if he actually saw that, and he stated no, that he heard the banging and that he hears that when someone's being punched.
Combs is in jail on a child abuse charge, which prosecutors said will likely be upgraded to homicide once they get through the evidence, which they're also using to investigate Paisley's mother. They showed some of that evidence to the judge, pictures of Paisley's body and makeshift cages using playpens, blankets, and tape deputies said the younger children were kept in. Was she home the night prior to this? Did she leave home that morning?
We're being told that she left that morning to go to run some errands. Did she know? And was she aware of this? These are things that will, I believe, pan out in this investigation.
Deputies and prosecutors indicated they're still in the early stages of that investigation as they try to answer one question the judge brought up.
From what I've seen on the record today, he'll commit violence against small children and adults. Why he's doing these things, I don't know.
Deputies say Combs never gave them a reason for why he punched that little girl. We have tried calling and texting the mother for comment. She has not responded.
Yes. So the mother let this happen. I'm assuming that he was like a boyfriend or something staying at the house. But the mother just, I'm assuming, there's no way she didn't see this happening. Maybe then some people will say, oh, she was scared. She was probably a victim herself. I don't know. That's stuff that we have to find out later. But if she wasn't being beaten, If she wasn't a victim and just watching this go on, you need to be in jail with him. It's as simple as that. Let's go over into the AI breakdown just to see if we can find out anything else. Let's jump over into it. So, as we know, in Marion County, Florida, 32-year-old Combs has been arrested and charged with aggravated child abuse following the death of the 3-year-old Paisley Brown. The incident, so on Thursday, February 19th, Paisley was found unresponsive in her home. Combs, who was the boyfriend of the child's mother and her primary caregiver at the time, allegedly attempted to bind her hands and legs with rope and blue painter's tape before punching her. A judge denied bond for him on February 25th, citing the severity of the allegations and the history of failing to appear court. See, I love when a judge actually thinks. So prosecutors indicated that the current child abuse charges are expected to upgrade once the medical examiner confirms the official cause of death. Authorities are investigating the mother's awareness of the abuse and why it took 40 minutes to call 911 after she found out the child was unresponsive. 4 other children living in the home, ages 1 to 9, have been taken into protective custody by the Florida Department of Children and Families. One of the children, a 9-year-old boy, reportedly witnessed the abuse. I wonder where is the father at? Where is the father in all these cases? The father just didn't care about the kids, or do they all have the same father? The world is a crazy, horrible place sometimes. We got to pray for the kids. Hopefully the kids do better outside of this house. But they've seen a lot, and it's going to stick with them for a while, and they're going to need to get help. Absolutely crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on that situation. Let me know how you feel about it. Absolutely crazy. The world is a crazy place. The world is a crazy place. Now, I don't know if a friend who said that the last dude should be released is still on there. Do you think that he should be released from jail as well? Or was it only because the dude was getting old that you said that? Absolutely crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts. But that is the end of the show today, y'all. We talked about a lot of crazy things like always. Just things that we have to review together, because if we don't, who will? If we don't, how will we know what's happening out there in the world? Now, remember, if you ever disagree with anything I said, I'm welcome to talk about it. Please just leave a comment. Let's discuss it. Let's have a civilized discussion. I might not know everything. I might not understand everything. But this is why we need to discuss this stuff together. Now, the best way to show support, remember, you can just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can be up to date on everything. Now, these videos will be broken down so you can see the exact one you want to. But at the end of the day, please protect your children. Look after your children. Be there for them in their lives. Because there are some horrible people out there who like hurting little kids. Absolute crazy situation. Like I said, let me know your thoughts. But you already know that's it for today. I will see y'all tomorrow for the last show of the week, starting at 6 o'clock. That's it for now, y'all. Peace.